morning, everybody. Welcome to Board Game Breakfast. I'm so glad you're here as we continue going on through this year. Lots of stuff going on. First of all, if you are a backer of our Kickstarter, I just posted a video on there explaining basically that the coronavirus is slowing down some of the publishers getting promos to us, but we are working as hard as we can to get that stuff out as quickly as we can, and hopefully we'll have that out as soon as possible. But fortunately, the main reason we run on Kickstarter is for content, and hopefully you enjoy our content. And good news, more coming this week. This episode is sponsored by Pandasaurus. We're talking about Control and Sonara. You know, Sonara is a game that I'm actually liking more each time I play it, a game that mixes flicking discs, like Crokinole, with a roll and write style game. So you flick the discs and then you'll write on the thing. You can see us playing it live. Pretty interesting game, and you can win a copy in this episode. Just email us at contest@dicetower.com, and in the subject line put the word SUN, S-U-N, because there's a sun on the cover, and in the description just put your address and name, and we'll pick 3 winners. This is for North America only, but one of those winners, we'll be announcing those on our website this week. All right, well, man, the question and answers are back. I started that last week. I know the live chats are over, but we're back doing Q&As in the morning, and we're going to be starting a new series. Hopefully, we'll be able to put up the new first episode of that this week at 9 o'clock at night. I'm calling this No Strings Attached Gaming. By this, I mean, we do previews on our show, we do paid playthroughs, and we do reviews, which have no strings attached already. But I want to do this as just games that we feel like playing. Not because they're hot, not because the audience, y'all, are begging for them, but just a game I want to play. It might be a hot new game, but it might be an old game that we haven't played for a long time. So we're posting these at 9 o'clock at night. Most of the time they'll be live. Sometimes they'll be pre-recorded. And we just hope that you enjoy those. This is going to be taking in place of our live chats. They're just not going to go up every night. They're going to go up some nights. And so just keep an eye out on the schedule for them. Alrighty, well, with that being said, I should also mention, if you want to keep an eye on what's going on in the Dice Tower, we have a newsletter. You can subscribe to it. I won't give your address to anybody else. This is just to get our newsletter, to keep you updated with what's going on at Dice Tower, maybe point out some videos, Kickstarters, and news that you might have missed. You can find out more information about that at dicetowerdigest.com. All right, now we're ready to start. Let's go. So what I find on the internet this week? Well, I want to talk about Meepleville interviews. Meepleville is run by Tim Metvier, who is the director of Dice Tower West. And he and I have known each other for a long time. We met at the Gamma Trade Show a while ago. He ran Meeple Con, which was a convention we went to, and then we folded that in. It became Dice Tower West. And we've just known each other for a long time. Great times back and forth. Well, he's doing a series of interviews with people. And spoiler alert, I suppose, in the upcoming weeks or months, you'll see one with me where he's done one with me. But he's done them with a lot of people. Now, I generally find interviews to be not that interesting. There are some exceptions, and I'll be talking about another one of those exceptions in the coming weeks. But Tim is one of those exceptions. He does a fantastic job. I was very impressed with the questions that he asks, because interviews often turn into a promotional video, right? I'm here interviewing so-and-so. We're here to talk about their newest game. You know, okay, that's not really that interesting of an interview. Tim does a good job. He's well prepared, he's thoughtful, and you should subscribe to his channel. We'll have a link to it down below. You can watch it. He's reviewed Reiner Knizia, he's reviewed Richard Ham, and many other people, and a lot of these reviews are in the can and will be coming out. So now's your chance to get on board and watch them when they come out. And that's what I found on the internet this week.
Brandy, Dylan, we game together.
Can we play now?
Yes.
Hi guys, I am Randy.
I'm Ellen, where we game together, and we're continuing on with our journey of talking about games that we purchased when we were first getting into the hobby.
Yes. So last week we talked about Friday and how that was a bit of a sad time in the initial gaming career.
Yeah. Marks the Dark Day on our gaming.
It was a game that I bought solo because I wasn't really getting any positive feedback from Ellen on previous board games purchased. But today we are talking about Carcassonne. So I actually bought that on the same day as Friday, which is on 5/17/2015. our initial impressions, I definitely liked it. I pretty much liked every game that we bought because I was very much I really want to get into this hobby. Yeah. And I was trying to get Ellen more into it. So what was your first impression?
I remember really liking it because it was pretty simple. I mean, it's tiling, and so you're connecting like rivers and all that. So it was simple. So I was easily able to grasp it. And I was not a good gamer at first. Like, it was very difficult for me to grasp the concept. It just was. Yeah. This one was easy for me to latch onto. I remember you encroaching on my territory, and that was infuriating. Yeah. That feeling is yucky.
Yeah, so Ellen's uber competitive, so that's why I went with that first co-op. But then Carcassone's not like super competitive, but that direct interaction of like I just overwhelmed you on the farm did not bode well either. So this game had a bit of a rocky start. But after a while, and we've got some expansions, and you got more into gaming, and this is later, months later, you ended up liking it quite a bit more.
I did like it.
And tiling, I think, is more like one of your more favorite mechanics.
I do really like tiling. And I'm finding that out actually as time goes by quite a bit later. Now I look back and go, you know what? I'm finding that I just really like that. It's just simple to do. I do remember also our anniversary fell some time around you buying that, and we both got each other Meeples.
Like custom Meeples for the game.
Yeah, custom Meeples for. That's so cute.
But Carcassonne is definitely one I would check out. Especially on your earlier. It's still a great tile laying game, and I still think it has plenty of merit today. Plus, there's umpteen expansions for it that you can kind of push the game kind of in a certain direction that you enjoy.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye-bye.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, we are Ryan and Bethany.
From Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
All right, today we're going to be talking about Expelled. This is kind of a one-shot RPG adventure story, all in this book. The theme is it's kind of wrapped up in this magical school, kind of like something like a Hogwarts, but it's like if Hogwarts was a terrible school with no funding.
It's like if you were a Hogwarts dropout.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of school, school's going to be starting soon for a lot of people, and as it is with a lot of schools, our daughter's going to have to wear a mask when she's at school. And now this is where we need your help. We want her masks to be like kind of a self-expression, but we don't want to just order generic things, I guess. So we're wanting to find some type of local company, not local, but some type of small business company that does geeky masks. So if you guys know anybody, please let us know and drop it in the comments.
Yep, we'd love to have her repping the nerds, having some fun at school while she's wearing a mask.
Yeah.
All right, so in Expelled, this is kind of a choose-your-own-adventure style, book. There's no rule book because it itself is the rule book. Every time you flip open a page, it's going to tell you what to do next. It might give you some plot. It might give you some, choose-your-own-adventure. Say, choose option A, B, or C. Yeah. Those options are going to carry throughout the game, kind of determine what things are going to happen in the future. You're going to have to cut out some things and color some things. There's going to be some little mini-games in there as well. So there's a whole lot of fun, a whole evening packed into this game.
So this is the second game we've played of the DIY adventure games, and we actually preferred Cloud Dungeon, but our daughter preferred this one. She was just really getting into it. She understood the school setting, she understood a magical setting, and so she really enjoyed this.
Yeah, she really got into the role-playing part of it, and she was even talking about how, she wanted to do what her character would do. Not necessarily what she would do, but what her character would do. I thought that was super cute, super fun. It was just a really fun evening for a family to do together. So we enjoyed it.
You can find us on Facebook or YouTube under Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. Everybody, this is Ryan. I'm Bethany, hoping you have a happy, healthy breakfast.
Bye, everybody.
Guys.
What's up, everyone? My name is Melissa McCack, and this is Smashin' Buttons and Slammin' Cards. This is a segment where I talk about a video game I love and I connect it to a board game I love. And first, I want to say thank you to everyone for all of your congratulations. I'm sorry I couldn't be there during the live chat, but I looked at all the messages, so thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so the video game I want to talk about is Mappy. Mappy is a classic arcade game that I think came out in the 80s, and you are a mouse. And there's this cat who's, I guess, evil, who's chasing you around. But really, I think the cat stole all this sort of loot. And what you're trying to do as this mouse is get all of the loot that's in the house. And you're leveling up. And through each level is a certain new feature. Either new hazards to worry about and all sorts of things. And it's really cool. And it was timed. You had to complete the level in a certain amount of time. And it was pretty puzzly. Sort of like a real-time strategy puzzly game, I would say. So I would like to connect that to Quirky Circuits. Quirky Circuits is a cooperative programming game, and it has awesome miniatures, and you're running around, you're sort of like a gizmo, and you're going around trying to get dust. Just like in Mappy, where you're going around trying to get the loot that the cat stole, I guess. And as you level up, there's new hazards to worry about and everything. Again, a lot like Mappy, where you're leveling up, going through all the levels. And it is puzzly, just like Mappy. It's puzzly, and it's timed where, you can run out of battery life, which is a really cool feature. I like that thematic tie to everything. But anyway, that is it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like, you could check out mine and my brother's channel called Room 51. I'll catch you next time.
So what's coming from the Dice Tower this week? Well, I'll tell you one thing, folks. If you're curious about videos that come out, you can always keep an eye, because some of them show up here on behind me. As I'm getting closer and closer to doing a review of a game, I put them on the wall. So Nidavellir, which I'm not pronouncing correctly, but watch that review. Watch it. Also, Apollo, the NASA moon missions. This is a cooperative game that showed up in the mass market stores, so taking a look at that. I'm also taking a look at the new Escape the Room Cursed Dollhouse. A very different kind of escape room game that's coming out. Visitor, Divvy Dice, the newest Dice Masters expansion. Oh, and Control. I'll be taking a look at over this coming week. I'm also going to be doing a top 10 list for myself, the top 10 polyomino games. The games with the Tetris piece shapes. So that will be coming out this week. And like I said, we got a Q&A coming out today. We'll be starting the No Strings Attached playthroughs. And so just keep an eye out. We're trying to put out lots of different content each week. And not just from me, but from all our different contributors. This isn't even close to mentioning all the different podcasts that go out. We have the whole Dice Tower Network with some amazing podcasts. Our own podcast goes up this Tuesday. It's called Question Palooza, where me and Eric are joined by Mandy, and we just answer a pile of questions that were sent to us, and some really interesting questions, or at least I think they're interesting. So that goes up every Tuesday on our website. Keep an eye on our website, and like I said, you want to keep an eye on everything that comes out. Check out DicetowerDigest.com.
Hi, it's Tarrant.
And Stella from Meeple University. Today we are talking about Ultra Deluxe 2D Arcade Mega Fighter. Cha-cha-cha! I care to chop you in the game.
Yes, this is a game that tries to replicate the old 2D...
Yes, arcade, Street Fighter, and that sort of like Mortal Kombat and that sort of thing.
Yep.
Yes.
And for the old button mashers like me, it pretty much has that vibe. You pick up button cards, and you play those cards to put combos, and in my case you find one that works, and then you just try to stick with that and hope it wins the game.
But then more than that, so it's like, I remember playing retro arcade games a lot. You have one fighter in the front line and then two in the sideline, so you can swap fighters, and it takes turns to do that, but essentially you can combo one from another, so you draft those fighters at the start of the game and you stuck with them for the rest of the game, but you try to get the combo that matches, so when one fighter heals and the other might heals, and the cards are just adorable. I like it. Look at this, all the reference, all the cute and very puns and jokes, and
you can see the Cycloptopus and Shark Fist, a guy with a shark attached to his arm when he punches people.
Yeah.
They're all very much like that. It's got a lovely, fun 80s throwback vibe to it.
It definitely has that feeling. So that is it. And we are Meeple University on YouTube and also on the Dice Tower for how to play, pocket playthrough, and live playthrough. See you next time.
Hey everyone, it's Clara, and I'm back talking about another board game that I haven't played, and this one's been on my radar for a really, really long time. Before I do, I'm going to talk about one of the few board games that I do own, and that is Seventh Continent. So with Seventh Continent, it's a cooperative game. You're collecting and trying to manage your hand, you're trying to manage your resources, and you're trying to survive the island and maybe fulfill a goal. It's a really, really fantastic game, and with all that, I am just not playing it. It's just not hitting the table. It's such a big game. Sometimes you've got to close the map down that you've built up halfway through a game. That's incredibly frustrating for me. And sometimes you lose the scenario. It is a survival game and you can lose. But after a 4, 5, 6 hour game, that's really frustrating. And if you go back and play it from the beginning, it can feel a little mechanical, even with all the expansions. I sort of feel like I'm done with it, which is a little sad. But I think I might get the same feeling from what I see as its spiritual predecessor, and that is Robinson Crusoe. So Robinson Crusoe, it's a board game, so it fits on the table relatively easily. You know, you've got limited resources. Do I use this to build this or this? Whichever one you make is going to have an impact further down the line. Do I kill this? Do I eat this? All these things impact the game, but you can't do everything. It's a really difficult puzzle, and you've just got to try and survive. And honestly, you're probably going to die from everything I've heard. But I don't mind that in a 2-hour game. It's a little bit less frustrating than a 4, 5, 6 hour game. So I actually feel like I'm going to prefer Robinson Crusoe, and it's going to hit the table so much more than Seventh Continent, even though I love this game. So what do you think? Do you think I'm right? Should I get rid of this and get Robinson Crusoe? Let me know in the comments below. And until I see you next time, take care. Bye-bye.
Howdy folks, welcome to By the Numbers. My name is Hunter Thomason from the Family Showdown. On this episode of By the Numbers, we're continuing my Through the Years series, where I look at the best game on Board Game Geek by year. Started with 1970, this time 1998. Taking a look at the top 5 from 1998, we see the number 1 game is Samurai. Coming in at 201. At first glance, Samurai looks like a war game, a dudes on the map game where you're vying for control of the areas of Japan. But it's an abstract tile-laying game. Samurai makes up what some call the Kininsia tile-laying trilogy. It started with Tigris and Euphrates, which, if you remember last time, it was the number 1 game from 1997. Samurai, number 1 game from 1998, and the third game in the trilogy, Through the Desert, if you were paying attention, it's the number 2 game from this year. Well, 1998. Taking a look at the ratings, over 14,000 of them. We see lots of 8s and 7s for an overall rating of 7.4. Taking a look at the weight, comes in at a 2.49. Kind of a lightish game. In fact, it's the middleweight game of the 3. So Tigris and Euphrates is the heavier of the 3. Samurai in the middle. And Through the Desert, a much lighter game. I'm not a huge fan of abstract games. This one looks interesting though. Samurai. See you next time.
As a kid, I really loved the Transformers and G.I. Joe TV show. Now, yes, you can argue that these shows were there to sell toys, because that is what they were to do. As a kid, I didn't think anything about that. I just liked them. I really thought they were in-depth, really involved stories, so on and so forth. I was very excited, them and Voltron and other things, as I got to be my age now, where I can go back and watch anything I want online and stuff. I'm like, ooh, I can finally, as a kid, I would miss TV shows here and there, and I'm like, oh, whatever happened? Now I can go watch them all. And I was like, huh. These shows haven't aged well. I watch it now, I'm thinking, I really liked that? That's not really that good. But then, so that's one side of this. So today I'm talking about nostalgia. The other side is sometimes I'll show my kids something. I'll be like, oh, this is great. You'll love this. And we watch it. I'm like, oh, wasn't that fantastic? And they're like, yeah, I guess. And I realized that part of the reason I like it so much is it brings back really good, pleasant memories for me, which is what nostalgia is. Now this comes into effect with board games. I recently reviewed a game called Solar Quest on our channel, a game that I remember very fondly for nostalgic reasons. I played it with my family a lot. There are some games I've had in my collection because of nostalgia. I remember playing this game a lot, maybe with my wife when we first got married, maybe with my parents when I was a kid, or whatever the reason might be. Nostalgia also has a place sometimes where we'll take a look at games from the years gone by that by today's designing standards aren't really that good, but we like them because of the memories they bring back. I've noticed this phenomenon with a lot of games, particularly, for example, Talisman. Talisman is probably not a well-designed game. I would argue very strongly that it's not, that it's just a badly designed game. And yet I run into person after person who really like the game, and each person will tell me that it's because they played it way back when, whether it was in college or high school or whatever, and really enjoyed it. And you can't argue with that, right? I can't say that someone's experiences in the past are wrong, no more than my experiences in the past are wrong. And so nostalgia, I found, has these two major factors. One is sometimes you find yourself going back and watching a movie or TV show or a board game that you play and you're like, huh, not nearly as good as I remember. And sometimes you play it and you're like, huh, maybe it's not good or not, but wow, it brings back a flush of memories that are just fantastic. They talk about how smell is a strong thing that brings back memories, and I know for sure that sometimes I'll hear a piece of music and it will bring back a strong memory from the past. And I'm someone who certainly likes memories. I like looking through yearbooks. I like looking at pictures. I like just remembering. I get together with some family and remember times gone by and just sitting around and talking about those things. And the good old days is a term that we throw around a lot, which really isn't true, but it's just that we tend to remember pleasant memories from the past. And games that give us a pleasant memory of the past, that's fantastic. That's the whole point of, well, not the whole point, but that's one of the points of gaming. And I can't sit there and if someone says, hey, we played this game when I was a kid, and I might think, well, that's not a very good game. But you know what? They had a fantastic time playing it. It's one of the reasons Monopoly is in so many people's houses, because people have good memories. And I know someone's about to raise their hand and go, oh, my memories were horrible with Monopoly. Well, they can't all have been horrible, or otherwise it just wouldn't sell everywhere. People do have good memories of playing games, and these are games that as gamers we can look down on, like Trivial Pursuit and Monopoly and Uno and Phase 10 and all these things. But they're games that bring back those wonderful memories. And I'm not here to dance on those. And remember that if I say a game is horrible and you love it and it brings back nostalgia for you, I'm not messing up your experience at all. You can do that, and I cannot mess with that experience. I cannot jump over that experience because I didn't have it. There are games that I know that are objectively bad, like, or at least, I guess, objectively bad. For example, Uno. Uno, you just play the cards from your hand. It's pretty obvious, right? But I played it so much as a kid with my family that I have strong remembrance of that. Even now when I play Uno, I remember those moments. My mom has passed away now. My brothers and sisters are scattered to the four corners of North America. But I can look at those games and remember a time gone by when we were kids sitting around a table yelling at each other. And that game provided that for us. And because of that, I'll remember that fondly. I think nostalgia is a powerful thing in board gaming, and I hope that the games I play with my kids now, or the games I play with my game group now, will bring nostalgia in the future, and they'll remember those times fondly, whether the games are good or not.
Hi, I'm Ambie, and a few weeks ago I was talking about how I've been doing a bunch of jigsaw puzzles lately, but I've actually been doing a bunch of puzzle type things lately, which I guess aren't actually board games, but they're board game adjacent, right? So it counts. And recently I just finished one called The Maze of Games, which is a book about these two kids who get stuck in a book called The Maze of Games and have to solve these puzzles to get out. There are a lot of crossword puzzles and word puzzles in here, and also a few logic puzzles and trivia puzzles. I'm pretty bad at word puzzles, but you can also get a solution guide to the puzzles that comes in a book that has all of the answers to the puzzles. So I may have used this a little bit. I liked going through the puzzle book, although sometimes I was frustrated with the puzzles since some weren't clear even after I knew the answers, and some of them just weren't puzzles that I enjoy solving. But there's so many puzzles in the book, and a lot of them are pretty good, and the story part was actually decent, which from the puzzle books that I've done is pretty rare, so The Maze of Games was pretty interesting. Another puzzle thing I'm currently doing is this deck of cards called Carte Rouge. It might look like a normal deck of cards, but it's actually a puzzle story hidden in the cards. So if you look closely, there's a bunch of ciphers hidden in the different cards, and when you decode everything, it'll have a whole story. I've gotten through part of one card so far, so I have a ways to go, but I'm pretty excited. So as you might be able to tell by now, I'm not that good at word puzzles and ciphers and crosswords, and I don't like them as much as logic puzzles and deduction, which I love. But a lot of the puzzle books that I've seen tend to be more on the word puzzle side than logic puzzle side, especially the ones with story. So if you enjoy doing puzzles in puzzle books, especially logic ones, do you have any recommendations or favorite ones that you've done? Or should I just blindly pick from my Amazon recommendations for my next ones? I don't know. Well, bye.
A rondelle is an action track in a game that usually goes in a circle or along a track that's going to reset at a certain point. So in various games, there's going to be a lot of riffs on this. Sometimes it could be actions that you're taking. Sometimes they're things that you're collecting or resources that you're collecting, things that you're allowed to do as you're moving along this track. Sometimes you can go as far as you want in the track. Sometimes you have to go a certain number of spaces. There's all sorts of different kind of takes on this. Sovereign Skies has a rondelle. It also has a ridiculously shiny box. But in Sovereign Skies, this is a pretty pure rondelle game. You're going to have 6 planets at a circle, and you're going to be moving your spaceship around the planets and taking various actions as you land on them. You can reverse. You can only go so many spaces. It's a pretty traditional kind of rondelle game. Finca is a bit of a riff on a rondelle where you are going in a circle, you're going in one direction, a certain number of spaces, but in Finca, instead of taking actions, you're collecting resources. Depending on where you land on the wheel, you're going to be collecting a certain number of resources of a certain type of resources. That's it.
Hi everybody, I'm Doug Jr.
And I'm Doug the Third.
And you're watching a Fellowship of Meeples with Doug and Doug Gaming. Today on a Fellowship of Meeples, we're going to start a new series where we will recommend various games that you can introduce to your gaming group, especially if they're new to the gaming world.
Each week we're going to focus on a different gaming mechanic. And today we're going to focus on one of our favorite games where the gaming mechanic is worker placement.
Lords of Waterdeep is a great worker placement game that is not hard to learn or teach, and yet it offers a lot of strategic choices that is sure to gain the approval of your gaming group or family members.
You'll play a specific Lord character attempting to complete quests by sending out agents to obtain certain resources. Each quest card you complete gives you benefits, primarily victory points.
To get those resources, you'll simply place an agent on an available spot and receive whatever resources that spot provides.
Some spots provide different colored adventurer cubes representing clerics, fighters, rogues, and wizards.
Other spots may provide you with additional quest cards, intrigue cards, money, or even buildings that then become another spot that players can place their workers on.
The number of agents you start with depends on how many players there are. The core set will accommodate 2 to 5 players.
During round 5, you'll receive an extra agent to place. After round 8, the game is over.
In addition to points you receive from the completed quests, you'll get additional points for how many adventures you have left, money you have left, as well as extra points for certain types of quests based on which Lord character you played.
Hey, there's lots of great worker placement games out there, but Lords of Waterdeep is one that can satisfy both the experienced player as well as a newbie.
Join us next time when we discuss a new favorite game of ours with a different game mechanic.
We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
And that's it for another Board Game Breakfast, folks. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget our contest. Check the beginning of the episode to see how you can enter that and win. And we're running lots of contests on a lot of our different shows. So I hope that you come by and have a good time. This week, I should mention, crowd surfing happens on Wednesday. And crowd surfing this week is now going to start becoming a weekly podcast, or weekly video show, a weekly video show, where we talk about Kickstarters that are coming out. And I hope that you enjoy that as we go through the different things that come out, but hopefully on a weekly basis we'll be able to cover more games as we go through. Also, we've been starting to put chapters in our videos. We're putting them in all our new videos, and we're also putting them in our old ones so that you can kind of skip ahead or jump around in videos and find the things that you want. I hope that's helpful to you. If it is, please mention it in the comments below. If you have other things to mention, sure, talk about them. Until next time, though, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast on the Dice Tower.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production.